How's it going, guys? And welcome back. Welcome to all of you new people as well. Stick around. So this is going to be just an update of a video I posted, I believe, like 2 weeks ago about the Nintendo Switch, some of the controversies that were surrounding the Nintendo Switch, and how some people weren't very happy with some of the new things that they were hinting to in their, terms and conditions and their agreements and everything like that. As well as we went over the pricing increase, which seems like it's going to start being a new standard in the industry. But today we're just going to go over the fact that everybody was in my comments for a while and people were coming in and out saying like it's all just talk. They've been saying this for years. They're not really bricking anybody's system. Well, it looks like they're fucking bricking people's systems. People are getting an error code 2124-4508, which is basically disconnecting it from the internet. There's no way to get around it. It's doing what we thought it was going to do. And the thing about that is it's not just affecting the people who are testing this out on the internet, for YouTube videos and stuff like that. It's turning into an issue where people are bricking consoles and then returning them. People unknowingly are rebuying them thinking they're getting sweet deals and are getting bricked useless systems. And I know that the system can still be used offline for any offline like cartridge games, assuming you have a cartridge game and not one of the ones that literally just for downloading stuff, because you can't download anything anymore. You can't download updates. You can't use the game. You can't use anything that needs online in any sort of way, which for a system that's basically online a lot and needs to be connected to the internet renders it completely useless. We kind of knew that this was coming based off, the verbiage that they use and everything like that. But we have a lot of people that were arguing that this wasn't going to happen. And now that it is happening, it's affecting not only the people who have purchased them, but people who are trying to purchase them secondhand or people who are trying to purchase them, used from stores. So I have a few articles pulled up right here for after, looking around and stuff. And it says, warning, as some people are returning bricked Switch consoles after the MIG carts, right? And MIG cartridges are basically empty cartridges you can add games to using your PC after downloading them online, pirated, etc. But this article right here, this is just basically addressing the fact the ban means that you cannot access any Nintendo Switch online functions in your Nintendo Switch 2 console. One person who thought he was receiving a good deal from a returned console at Walmart came home to find that his purchase had an infamous error code, the 2124-4508, meaning all online function has been blocked. And this was unknowing to Walmart. The return console seemed to be fine because it boots up and everything, but is basically rendered useless with anything that has to do with online. So it says, be very careful purchasing secondhand Nintendos. On this article, beware that pre-owned Switch 2s you're thinking about buying might already be bricked. Nintendo has become increasingly draconian. Might have got that one wrong. In its efforts to prevent piracy, most recently added words in the EULA that claim it has the right to break your console if it doesn't like what you're using it for. And following the release of the Switch 2, the Japanese company isn't holding back. Many new console owners have already reported they're unable to use any online function after Nintendo detected the attempt to use MIG carts. Now it seems users have triggered this block are selling their broken consoles to unsuspecting buyers. And I mean, granted, you probably shouldn't be buying secondhand stuff. The thing with if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Will always be a thing. But there's always going to be people out there who you don't have as much, and you really want to get one of these, and it's really appealing to see something dropped down, right? And price dropped. As spotted by Android Authority and Reddit posts, bought themselves a pre-owned Switch 2 from a Walmart store only to find it. So it's just the one from Walmart, right? And it says, I was driving between work sites and stopped at 2 different Walmarts, says user Bimington. At the second one, I found Mario Kart Edition sitting on the case and couldn't believe my luck. They were informed by the Walmart staff that it was an open box return, so it was removed from the box to be checked over, and all looked well. The code for the package Mario Kart World had been scratched off already, so Walmart knocked another $50 off the price, and it all seemed like a good deal. Finally, after work, I had a chance to set it up, quickly realized I need super special micro SD card, and none of the half dozen in my house would work. Drive 10 minutes to Target to get one there, and pick up a few other accessories as well. To get home to finish the setup, quickly error code has popped up. Quick Google shows me that I'm screwed. It's not really one of those things that is Walmart's fault per se, but it's going to be something that they're going to need to implement in a way to check the system or try to connect it to the internet if they are taking returns to kind of avoid this. Bear in mind that this was an inspected item, which unless someone tried to use it for any online functions, would likely be fully functioning console, right? So, and that's what I'm saying. I'm sure they did their due diligence and checked it out, but unless they're trying to put their accounts on it and use it, it looks pretty normal. MIG carts became popular means of piracy in the Switch 1 for those who didn't want to attempt to jailbreak in the device. The cartridge is the size shape of a regular Switch cart, but writable via SD card on your PC, allowing you to long and single games onto the cart at a time. Nintendo has tried to fiercely crack down on those who sell the MIG carts, right? But since the release of the Switch 2, an update has been released that allows it to take advantage of the device backward compatibility and still play Switch 1 games. And it says Nintendo appeared to be ready for this, with the Switch 2 seemingly able to detect its use and bricking its online capabilities. Something that's more dramatic than it might sound, given how few games will actually be on carts. For the new handheld, it means you can't download the games, use the stores, play multiplayer, update softwares, or run those irritating checks to see if you're allowed to play a game if you share an account over more than one console. And then right here, the secondhand Switch 2 market is already a minefield of bricked consoles. Nintendo Switch has only been out for a few weeks, but some lucky users have already found deals on secondhand consoles, reporting finding such deals scoring $50 discounts, etc. Even though these things are sold out, only to boot them up to get the error code. The error code is using online Nintendo services, effectively bricking the device. Odds of secondhand Switch consoles being bricked are uncomfortably high at this point. All of this is kind of led into what is going on now with Nintendo, where they're being sued, right? So Nintendo's ability to ban Switch 2 consoles has landed in hot water. Nintendo's ability to essentially brick 2 consoles has landed in a legal challenge from Brazil's consumer rights watchdog. Reports began to emerge recently which indicate the Switch 2 consoles in use with the MIG carts, MIG carts, whatever, could be outright banned by Nintendo restricting access to online services. As such, Brazil's consumer rights watchdog has now argued that this policy violates user rights to access the services that they've paid for. Procon SP, Sao Paulo's Office of Brazil's Public Consumer Protection and Defense Program, now has complaints filed with Nintendo and has requested that the policy be removed entirely. So this is one of the videos I seen where this is the code you're getting and what it looks like when you're getting when your shit gets banned, right? And there's no way to get rid of it. Consoles affected by the ban would display this error code. A few folks who have bought the console to the secondhand discounted rate have stated that the console simply doesn't work and displays the same error. Thankfully, in one instance, a user was able to return the device after it was bought from the Walmart. So yeah, so that person was able to return it. But the problem is like, what about all the people who are buying it secondhand, buying it on OfferUp, buying it on Facebook Marketplace, buying it in places where, I mean, once you buy it, you're kind of stuck with it, right? So it says Brazil is now legally challenging Nintendo's rights to brick your units whenever they want. It's now been reported by Nintendo that the branch of Brazil Consumer Protection is now challenging Nintendo's new end-use agreement, referring to it as abusive under Brazilian law. Their main gripe is the part which Nintendo holds the right to permanently restrict access to services in the event that they deem that someone has violated their terms. If you fail to comply with foregoing restrictions, Nintendo may render the console and or software permanently unusable, or whole or in part, right? So it says, while it might seem that this is something that can only ever affect those that are doing something unauthorized, there have been reports of bricked consoles being exchanged to new owners, which is what we've been addressing. So now they have this thing going on with Brazil, because Brazil is basically defending it. And I personally kind of support this, because I don't think that if I'm spending $500 on something, they should be able to brick or make it useless in any terms, right? Or in any way. Like, who cares? The Switch 1 worked perfectly fine with these cartridges. Like, just leave it as is, bro. A lot of normal people, they won't even get it. Like, I know there's going to be a huge market for these things, and I'm sure a lot of people do use them. But I personally know a bunch of people with Switches who just buy the games, right? It says, for better or worse, it seems that Nintendo intends to fight Brazil on this matter. However, at the moment, Nintendo does not have a legal presence in Brazil. As such, Nintendo has had contact with the company's U.S. headquarters just to open talks. They've appointed a local law firm to handle the situation. So it's becoming one of those things where we're not only seeing backlash from consumers, but we're seeing backlash from a full country of Brazil, like the full country of Brazil, like they're basically pushing back against it, saying that this shit isn't right. Now, I do know that a lot of people are going to be really mixed on how they're feeling about this, and there are people who are going to be defending Nintendo and saying, well, you know that you broke their policy, so this is what's going to happen, as well as people who are saying that it's not technically bricked because you can still play physical games that you have, you just can't join any online things or connect anything. But in a climate where we're constantly needing to be online, you're constantly needing to update games, and a lot of games need to be connected to online servers just to actually play the game itself, you're basically bricking the console and making it useless, which is why people are reselling them or returning them. I think that this is landing Nintendo in a lot of hot water. It's going to really push forward the whole do we own anything? And I think it's just funny because that was the first thing when these things came out and I made the first video. A lot of people were defending, saying that this isn't going to happen, this is going to happen. But we clearly are seeing cases of it happening. And there's people who are none the wiser dealing with the repercussions of these things happening to others, right? Buying faulty stuff, having to go through the headache of back and forth from stores to returning. I mean, whether they're getting the return or not, that's time out of somebody's day. So, I mean, one of the articles that we read, it says Nintendo has reportedly stated that it will respond to the complaint within 20 days. So we'll be sure to provide an update then. So I'm going to keep close eye on this, and we're going to see where this goes. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you guys support what Nintendo's doing here? Do you guys think that, you know, they have all rights to do this and it's just like the people's fault who are doing it to themselves? Do you think that, you know, we should try to implement something in stores where they have a more in-depth verification process before accepting returns? Or are you on the other side? Like, do you think that it's bullshit that once you buy something, it is yours, whether you want to do something to it or not? You should have that right to do so because you paid premium dollar to purchase that item. Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video out there. And ring the bell for notification. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.